You are not here to live like everyone else. You are here to control your mind before it controls you, to feed your hunger until it turns you into a weapon, to silence the weak, turn your pain into power, and grasp with precision, not for entertainment. You will step into environments that crush the comfortable. Observe before you speak and cut the noise until only clarity remains. Every defeat will sharpen you. Every distraction will die in your presence. You will operate with such ruthless concentration that the world won't just notice you. It will doubt the mind you built. This isn't motivation. This is war for your future. Control your mind or it will control you. That is the law. That is the choice. You are either the master of your thoughts or their slave. Every empire, every fortune, every journey of significance was first built in the battlefield of the mind. Before the world bows to you, your mind must bow to you. If you cannot command your own thoughts, you will be commanded by the chaos of the world. And chaos never has your best interest in mind. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are seeds. Each one you allow to take root grows into actions, habits, and a destiny. Let the wrong thoughts plant themselves, and you will watch your journey fill with weeds, envy, doubt, procrastination, until nothing powerful can grow. But if you plant with precision, self-control, courage, determination, your mind becomes a fertile field for victories that others will call impossible. Most people have no walls guarding their mind. They let anything in. Opinions from the unqualified, doubt from the news, self-doubt from their past. They scroll endlessly, letting strangers rent space in their head for free. Then they wonder why their concentration is weak, why their motivation disappears, why they can't finish what they start. The answer is simple. Their mind is under enemy control. You must declare war on mental weakness. Start by deciding that no thought lives in your mind, rentre, unless it serves your mission. Ruthlessly evict the useless. When a thought whispers, "You can't do this," interrogate it. Where did it come from? Who sent it? Why is it here? 9 times out of 10, you will find it came from someone else's setback, someone else's doubt. That is not your inheritance. Send it out. Replace it with a thought that fuels you. The mind is like a muscle. It grows stronger under pressure, or it withers under neglect. That's why comfort is dangerous. Comfort makes the mind lazy. It stops asking questions. It stops solving problems. It stops reaching. But discomfort, test, risk, high stakes, forces the mind to expand. It sharpens, it adapts, it learns faster. That's why every time journey pushes you into difficulty, you should thank it. The sharper the blade, the harder the steel was beaten. Control is not just about keeping bad thoughts out, it's about directing the good thoughts in. Feed your mind what makes it sharper. Read with intention, not just entertainment. Study the moves of people who have achieved what you desire, not the gossip of those who have not. Spend time with thinkers who make you feel small because they will stretch you. And when you speak, speak with precision. Every careless word is a leak in your mental fortress. The secret to mastering your mind is this. You must see thoughts as tools, not masters. A tool sits in your hand. You decide when to use it. If you need courage, you summon it. If you need patience, you call for it. If you need strategy, you shape it. You do not let doubt pick up the pen and write your story. You do not let anger grab the wheel and drive your future into a wall. Your emotions are nothing but energy, raw, untamed, waiting to be directed. Left uncontrolled, they will waste themselves in complaining, worrying, or attacking what doesn't matter. But controlled, they can be concentrated into massive action. Doubt becomes preparation. Anger becomes drive. Doubt becomes investigation. Every emotion has power if you hold the reins. Most will never understand this self-control because most want comfort more than control. They would rather be entertained than enlightened. They would rather be distracted than disciplined. And so their minds become playgrounds for anyone with a louder voice or a shinier screen. That is not your road. You will rise each day and command your thoughts before the world does. You will decide what you feed your mind, and you will feed it with precision. You will not hand over your mental real estate to people who haven't built anything. You will treat every thought like a soldier in your army. Either it fights for you or it's discharged immediately. You will observe more than you speak because every word shapes thought and every thought shapes destiny. You will choose environments that sharpen you. You will avoid mental pollution like poison. You will use every loss as a lesson, every pain as data, every test as training. And in time, your mind will not just be under control. It will be a weapon so sharp that people will feel its edge in your words, your actions, and your results. They will wonder how you always know what to do, how you always move with precision, how you never seem shaken. The reality is simple. Your mind obeys you Control your mind, and you control your future. Let it run wild, and you hand your future to the winds. The choice is daily, the practice is endless, but the reward is unstoppable power. Your journey will always rise to the level of your thinking. Make your thinking dangerous, make it disciplined, make it yours. Because the day your mind becomes your servant, you will be unstoppable. And the world will have no choice but to follow the one who has mastered the most powerful force on earth, the mind. Hunger creates sharpness, not books alone, not degrees, not titles, hunger. The mind grows sharp when it has something to chase. Desire fuels concentration, and concentration forges the kind of sharpness that cannot be taught in classrooms. A starving wolf learns more about survival in a week than a fed one learns in a lifetime. The same is true for you. When you are hungry for a target, your brain shifts into high alert. Every detail matters. Every pattern becomes visible. You begin to notice opportunities where others see nothing. You connect dots that others don't even know exist. Your senses sharpen, your memory strengthens, and your creativity explodes. Not because you suddenly became smarter, but because hunger forced your mind to wake up. Comfort kills this instinct. When you have enough, you stop looking. When everything is safe, your mind drifts into sleep mode. You consume without purpose. You speak without thinking. You move without strategy. Comfort convinces you that you can afford to waste time. Hunger teaches you that every second matters. Hunger is not about desperation, it's about drive. Desperation makes you reckless. Drive makes you strategic. A hungry mind doesn't just act, it plans. It learns what it needs to grasp and ignores everything else. It knows that energy and attention are currency, and it spends them only where the return will be massive. When you want something badly enough, your brain becomes a machine for finding solutions. You start asking better questions. You start seeing through obstacles instead of stopping at them. You begin to strip away the unnecessary until all that remains is what moves you forward. That is sharpness. Cutting away noise until only reality remains. Look at the great innovators, leaders, conquerors. They were all hungry. Hungry to solve, hungry to win, hungry to create. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They built with whatever was in front of them. They didn't stop to ask for permission. They created results so undeniable that permission was irrelevant. If you've ever wondered why you feel stagnant, why your mind feels dull, ask yourself, what are you hungry for right now? If the answer is nothing, then you found the problem. The brain without hunger becomes a storage unit for random information. The brain with hunger becomes a weapon. You don't need to have every resource. You don't need to know every answer. You need to have a reason so big that your mind cannot rest until it finds a way. The student with a burning aspiration will outarm the one with the best books. The fighter with a reason to win will outthink the one with better training. The person who refuses to quit will outsmart the one who only works when it's easy. Hunger turns pain into fuel. It rewires your relationship with setback. When you are hungry enough, setback is not an ending. It's just data. You analyze it, adapt, and keep moving. You can't be humiliated into quitting because hunger does not care about ego. It cares about the target. The beauty of hunger is that it multiplies sharpness without you even noticing. You'll push yourself into learning skills you once avoided. You'll memorize details without forcing it. You'll understand patterns you never studied formally. The mind, when hungry, becomes like water. It finds a way around, under, or through any obstacle. Hunger is the engine, but self-control is the driver. Desire without control burns out fast. That's why you must channel it. Wake up every day and feed your hunger with action. Read what matters. Listen to what strengthens you. Train your mind on problems worth solving. Protect your energy from distractions that starve your concentration. You will find that hunger is contagious. When you live with that kind of fire, it makes others curious. They'll want to know why you move so fast, why you think so clearly, why you seem to always find a way. They won't see the internal work. They won't see the nights you spent studying, the hours you spent testing, the endless refining of strategy. They'll just call it talent because they don't understand that hunger trained your mind. This is why the most dangerous person in any room is the one who still wants more. Not greedily, but purposefully. Hunger keeps you learning when others have stopped. Hunger keeps you alert when others are relaxed. Hunger keeps you uncomfortable in a way that forces growth, so never let your hunger die. Feed it with bigger visions. Starve it of excuses. Give it challenges that scare you. Surround it with people who raise your standard. Guard it from comfort disguised as achievement. Because the day you lose hunger is the day your sharpness begins to decay. If you stay hungry, you will never stop learning. If you never stop learning, you will never stop winning. And when your hunger drives your sharpness, people will not just see you as smart, they will see you as unstoppable. The reality is simple. Hunger creates sharpness, and sharpness creates power. And in this world, power belongs to the ones who want it enough to keep, sharpening their mind long after everyone else has gone to sleep. Stay hungry, stay sharp, and watch what happens when the world tries to compete with a mind that refuses to be satisfied. All right, here's your silence. Weak opinions expansion into a full 800-word. No headings, high-intensity motivational speech in the sharp, commanding style you want. Silence weak opinions are not with your words, but with your results. You do not rise by arguing with small minds. You rise by making their noise irrelevant. Weak opinions have no real power. They survive only when you give them oxygen. The moment you stop feeding them with your attention, they starve. Every person who has ever done anything significant has been told they couldn't, that they were foolish, that they should stop. And every one of those opinions came from a place of limitation, not vision. People speak from the ceiling of their own experience. If their ceiling is low, their words will always tell you to crouch. You cannot build an empire while negotiating with people who have never built a single wall. Weak opinions sound loud because they come from the majority. The majority have no risk, no skin in the game, no understanding of what it takes to turn a vision into reality. Their talk is cheap because they pay nothing for it. You, on the other hand, pay in time, sweat, sacrifice. The danger is not that weak opinions exist. It's that they can weaken you if you let them take root in your mind. A single doubt repeated often enough can start to feel like reality. That is why you must treat weak opinions like poison. The moment you hear one, you recognize it, isolate it, and remove it before it spreads. The strongest response to doubt is progress. Not explanation, not debate, progress. When you execute, you create facts, and facts are louder than words. Every step you take toward your target is another nail in the coffin of those weak opinions. Eventually, even the loudest critic goes silent. Not because you convince them, but because you prove them irrelevant. When you waste time defending yourself, you slow your own momentum. Every second you spend explaining your vision is a second you could have been building it. If someone cannot see the road you're walking, that's their blindness, not your burden. Your job is not to convert the doubters. It's to complete the mission so completely that there's nothing left to say. Silencing weak opinions doesn't mean ignoring all criticism. Powerful minds value powerful feedback. But there's a difference between the opinion of someone who's been where you want to go and someone who's never even left their comfort zone. One is a map, the other is noise. Grasp the difference fast because your time is your sharpest weapon. Weak opinions often come disguised as concern. I'm just trying to help. I don't want to see you fail. But if their help is only warning you of why it won't work without offering any solution, it's not help, it's projection. They are handing you their fears, hoping you'll carry them. Don't. You already have enough weight to lift. The reality is, most weak opinions are a reflection of the speaker's own limitations. If they can't imagine themselves doing it, they assume you can't either. If they gave up when it got difficult, they expect you to give up too. Your job is to break that expectation without even addressing it. The only language weak opinions understand is results. When the business they said would fail starts thriving. When the skill they mocked you for learning turns into a weapon they can't match. When the self-control they called too much becomes the reason you're untouchable. That is how you silence them. Not by lowering your voice to argue, but by raising your standard until they can't reach it. Every time you let weak opinions shake you, you train yourself to doubt your own instincts. Every time you ignore them and move forward, you strengthen your own voice. That voice is the one that matters. The voice in your head is either your greatest ally or your worst enemy. And if you fill it with other people's limitations, it will work against you. So guard your mental space like you guard your time. Don't let just anyone in. Don't entertain conversations that make you smaller. Don't seek validation from people whose only contribution is telling you what can't be done. Keep your concentration locked on those who test you to aim higher, not those who try to pull you lower. The road to greatness is noisy. Every step forward will attract 100 voices trying to slow you down. But here's the reality. They only get louder when they sense you're about to break through. That's when you double down. That's when you stop talking completely and let your work answer every question they haven't even asked yet. Silence weak opinions by moving so fast they can't keep up, by creating so much value they can't deny you, by becoming so consistent that their doubt turns into disbelief and their disbelief turns into silence. And when they finally see what you've built, they will pretend they always believed. Let them. Your concentration was never on proving them wrong. It was on proving yourself right, because in the end, the loudest sound in the world is not an argument. It's achievement. An achievement has a way of making even the weakest opinions disappear without a word. Turn pain into mental ammunition. Most people run from pain. The powerful collect it, load it, and fire it back at the obstacles in their way. Pain is not just something you survive, it's something you weaponize. Every wound, every rejection, every betrayal is raw material. Left unused, it rots. Used correctly, it becomes the sharpest edge in your arsenal. Pain has a way of focusing the mind. When you've been hit difficult enough, you stop wasting time. You stop tolerating nonsense. You stop asking for permission. Pain strips away the luxury of laziness. It forces you to pay attention, to analyze, to calculate. It trains your mind to scan for solutions instead of sympathy. The world tells you pain is a setback. It's not. Pain is a signal. It's data. It tells you what went wrong, where the weakness was, what needs to be fortified. Pain exposes the cracks in your armor so you can reinforce them. Every time you ignore that data, you leave yourself open to the same hit again. Every time you use it, you become harder to hurt. Most people use pain as an excuse to stop. You will use it as a reason to keep going. When you feel it, you will not just endure it. You will study it. You will extract the lesson, the strategy, the fuel. You will take the very thing meant to break you and turn it into the reason you can't be broken. Pain builds mental toughness faster than comfort ever will. Comfort makes the mind soft. Pain forces it to adapt. A mind that is adapted to pain learns to think under pressure, to remain calm in chaos, to make decisions when everything feels like it's falling apart. That is the kind of sharpness you can't buy. You have to bleed for it. But pain is only power if you refuse to waste it. Wasting pain looks like self-pity, endless complaining, or numbing yourself with distractions. Using pain looks like breaking it down piece by piece until it becomes a blueprint for your next move. Every heartbreak can teach you about people. Every setback can teach you about systems. Every loss can teach you about preparation. If you're willing to look, pain always leaves you a gift. When you turn pain into mental ammunition, you become unpredictable. People expect pain to slow you down. They expect it to make you cautious, timid, afraid. When it makes you faster, sharper, and more dangerous instead, you shatter their calculations. That's how you win against opponents with more resources or more experience. You use what they throw at you as fuel to outthink them. The key is not to let pain make you bitter. Bitterness wastes the energy you could be using to build. Anger can be useful if you aim it. But if you let it spill everywhere, it burns you more than your enemies. Pain is meant to be concentrated, compressed, and aimed directly at the target in front of you. That's how it becomes ammunition instead of dead weight. You don't have to like pain. You don't have to pretend it doesn't hurt, but you do have to respect it. It has something to teach you, and if you shut it out, you miss the lesson. Some of the sharpest minds in history were forged through relentless struggle, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they refused to waste it. Every time you turn pain into power, you raise your threshold. What once would have broken you becomes easy to carry. The next hit doesn't slow you down, it wakes you up. And that's when you become dangerous, because journey can no longer push you off course with discomfort. Your enemies, your critics, the people who doubt you, they're handing you ammunition without realizing it. Every insult is proof you're on their radar. Every setback is an impossibility to refine your strategy. Every door that slams is a reminder to build your own. If you store that energy instead of throwing it away, you will have more firepower than anyone who has lived without resistance. The reality is, the most intelligent strategies often come from the most painful experiences. A bad business deal teaches you to read contracts twice. A failed launch teaches you where your systems are weak. A betrayal teaches you how to choose allies more carefully. This is insight you can't Google. You earn it in the field. So the next time pain finds you, don't run. Stand still and take inventory. Ask it what it's trying to teach you. Then write that lesson into your playbook. Turn the emotion into action, the setback into a step forward, the loss into leverage. That's how you turn pain into mental ammunition, by refusing to let it pass through you without giving you something in return. Pain will visit you again. It visits everyone, but for most people, it's an enemy. For you, it will be an ally. Not because it's pleasant, but because it's useful. And when you can look at pain and see not just hurt, but fuel, you will have one of the rarest advantages in the world. In the end, the difference between those who quit and those who conquer is simple. Quitters let pain drain them. Conquerors let pain arm them. Be a conqueror. Collect every hit, every scar, every rejection, and load it into the chamber. Then aim it at the next obstacle and pull the trigger. Because when you master this skill, Journey will realize it can't stop you. It can only sharpen you. And there is nothing more dangerous than a mind armed with the very pain meant to destroy it. Strategic learning over endless consuming. Understanding is not power. Applied understanding is. The world is full of people who read, watch, and listen all day, yet remain powerless because they never direct that understanding toward a purpose. Endless consuming is mental obesity. You get heavier with information, slower with decision-making, weaker with execution. Strategic learning is the opposite. It's targeted, lean, and built for action. The mind only grows sharper when it is fed with intention. Most people devour information with no filter. They watch random videos, read random articles, listen to random voices. They confuse movement with progress, thinking that because they're learning, they're getting ahead. But in reality, they're just filling their heads with clutter. Strategic learning begins with clarity. You must know exactly what you're trying to achieve, and then you train your mind only on what gets you there faster. If the information doesn't move you closer to your target, it's noise. If it doesn't solve a problem you're facing, it's a distraction disguised as education. Every minute you spend learning something irrelevant is a minute stolen from mastering what matters. You don't have to know everything. You have to know the right things deeply. The world rewards depth, not random trivia. A shallow mind is easy to impress, but difficult to rely on. A focused mind becomes a weapon that can cut through complexity with precision. This is why the most successful people are selective about what they study. They don't try to master 10 different things at once. They zero in on the skill, the strategy, or the system that will give them the biggest return. They grasp it until it becomes muscle memory. Then they move on to the next most valuable skill, stacking one advantage on top of another. Endless consuming keeps you in theory. Strategic learning pushes you into practice. You don't just read about negotiation, you negotiate. You don't just watch videos about building, you build. You don't just study achievement, you reverse engineer it and apply it in your own environment. If you want to be dangerous in any field, you must become allergic to irrelevant information. This means saying no to trends that don't align with your mission. It means refusing to let curiosity lead you into endless rabbit holes that have no return. Curiosity is good, but undirected curiosity will eat years of your journey. Strategic learning is about speed and precision. You identify the target, you gather the most relevant understanding, you test it in the real world, and you refine it based on results. It's a loop of learning and applying, not just collecting. Every cycle makes you sharper, faster, and more valuable. Endless consumers wait until they feel ready. Strategic learners know readiness is a trap. They start before they feel ready and grasp in motion. Action forces you to retain the right lessons because now you have something real at stake. When the outcome matters, you grasp faster. The brain learns best through necessity. When you commit to something you must deliver, your mind will filter and process information differently. Suddenly, every piece of understanding is weighed for its usefulness. Irrelevant details vanish, essential facts stick. This is how you compress years of learning into months. The irony is that endless consumers often think they're behind because they don't know enough. In reality, they know too much that doesn't matter and too little that does. They've spread themselves so thin across so many subjects that they can't execute on any of them with authority. You will not make that mistake. You will be ruthless about your inputs. Every book, video, conversation, and mentor will be chosen for a reason. Every piece of understanding you take in will be measured by one standard. Does this move me forward right now? If not, it's discarded. This self-control turns your mind into a precision instrument. Instead of carrying a backpack full of random tools, you carry a sharpened blade you know how to use in any situation. You become known not for knowing everything, but for being deadly accurate in the areas that matter. And here's the reality. Most people will never have the self-control to do this. They are addicted to passive learning because it feels safe. It makes them feel productive without risking anything. But passive learning is a trap. It gives you the illusion of progress while keeping you exactly where you are. Strategic learning is uncomfortable because it demands action. It forces you to face the gap between what you think you know and what you can actually do. But that discomfort is where real growth lives. Every time you step into the arena and apply what you've learned, you discover the next most crucial thing to study. This creates an unbreakable feedback loop of learning and execution. The result, you rise faster than those who study endlessly but never move. You start making connections others miss. You become the person people come to not for opinions, but for solutions. And you earn that position not by knowing everything, but by knowing exactly what matters and mastering it. So stop filling your head just to feel busy. Stop chasing every idea just because it's interesting. Train your mind like a soldier trains with a weapon, deliberately, with purpose and with the intention to use it. Strategic learning over endless consuming. That's how you build an edge. That's how you stay ahead. And that's how you turn understanding from a hobby into a weapon that makes you unstoppable. Choose environments that test you. If the people and places around you do not force you to level up, they are holding you down. Growth does not happen in comfort. Comfort breeds weakness. The mind and body adapt to whatever is normal. And if your normal is too easy, you will get weaker without realizing it. To grow stronger, faster, and sharper, you must live where the standard is higher than yours. The right environment will demand your best every single day. It will not allow excuses. It will not care about your comfort. It will expose your weaknesses and force you to fix them. That's why most people avoid challenging environments. They don't want to be reminded of how much better they could be. But if you want to be powerful, if you want to be dangerous in your field, you must seek those places that make you feel small in the beginning. When you are the smartest, strongest, or most skilled person in the room, you stop growing. Your mind becomes stagnant because there's nothing pushing against it. But when you step into a room full of people who are better than you, your survival instincts activate. You watch, you grasp, you adapt, you move differently because now every mistake costs you. Pressure is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Environments that test you force you to think faster, plan deeper, and execute cleaner. They sharpen your instincts. They keep you alert. They train you to perform at a higher level until that higher level becomes your baseline. Weak environments reward mediocrity. They let you win without effort. They clap for average work. They don't push you. They pacify you. And that's how people rot while thinking they're doing well. The applause of a weak crowd is the loudest warning sign you can hear. The moment you enter a challenging environment, you will feel discomfort. You will see gaps in your skills. You will notice the limits of your self-control. This is good. It's the signal that you've placed yourself in the right arena, because here, nothing is handed to you. Here, you must earn your place. Here, you must prove yourself daily. Challenging environments reveal the reality. They show you exactly where you stand without the false comfort of being compared to the unmotivated. They don't let you hide behind excuses, because here everyone is busy building, improving, moving forward. And if you can't keep up, you get left behind. That's the point. You either rise or you're replaced. The fastest way to grow is to surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, but at a higher level. People whose self-control makes yours look sloppy. People whose results make yours feel small. If that stings your ego, good. It means you care. That sting is your mind realizing there's another level you haven't reached yet. This is why champions train with champions. Why great thinkers debate with great thinkers. Why elite soldiers train in brutal conditions. Because iron sharpens iron. And nothing sharpens you faster than being around those who won't let you settle for less than excellence. Choosing environments that test you is not just about people. It's about conditions. Work in places where distractions can't survive. Training conditions that make normal journey feel easy. Put yourself under constraints that force creativity. Remove the easy road so you are left with only the difficult road forward. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will test you. But the discomfort you feel in these environments is temporary. The growth you gain is permanent. Once you've been forged in a higher standard, lower standards feel suffocating. You will outgrow the rooms that once felt intimidating, and that's when it's time to find an even harder one. You cannot expect to dominate in the real world if you train in a padded room. You cannot expect to lead the field if you practice in last place. The people who rise to the top are not the ones who stayed where it was safe. They are the ones who entered arenas where they could barely keep up and then refused to leave until they could leave. Every test you face in a high-standard environment builds inner strength. Every loss you take there makes you smarter. Every win you earn there is worth 10 wins in a soft environment. And when you step back into the wider world, you'll realize most of it is operating far below the level you've trained at. That's when you become unstoppable. The choice is yours. Stay where it's easy and slowly decay, or put yourself where it's difficult and rise faster than you thought possible. One road feels good now, but kills you later. The other feels brutal now, but builds you forever. Choose environments that test you. The moment you do, you will stop drifting. You will stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You will stop being satisfied with average. You will begin to think, act, and perform like someone who knows exactly where they're going and is willing to fight for it. Because the reality is, greatness is not built in comfort. It's built under pressure, in rooms where your best is just the starting point, and where the only way to survive is to evolve. And when you've been through that, no easy environment will ever tempt you again. Observe before you speak. The fastest way to reveal weakness is to speak before you understand. The fastest way to gain an advantage is to stay silent until you've seen the full picture. Every word you say is a window into your mind. And in a world that thrives on exploiting weakness, you cannot afford to give away your position too soon. Observation is a weapon. Most people treat it like a passive act, just watching, waiting. But true observation is active. You are reading patterns, measuring energy, weighing possibilities. You are mapping the terrain before you take a single step. You are studying people, situations, and opportunities so deeply that when you finally speak, it is with precision, not guesswork. The undisciplined mind rushes to talk. It craves the spotlight, even when it has nothing of value to say. It mistakes noise for influence. But real power doesn't come from talking more. It comes from talking right. A single well-timed sentence can shift a conversation, transformation a decision, or close a deal. That kind of speech is only possible if you observe first. When you speak too soon, you miss information. You reveal strategy. You create openings for others to counter you. But when you observe first, you let others show their hand. People will tell you everything you need to know if you let them talk long enough. They will reveal their fears, their goals, their strengths, and their blind spots, all while thinking they're in control. Observation sharpens your instincts. It allows you to spot inconsistencies, sense tension, and read intent beneath the surface. Most people hear only words. Observers hear the reality behind the words. They notice the pauses, the shifts in tone, the patterns in behavior. These are the details that separate the average from the dangerous. In every high-stakes environment, whether it's business, competition, negotiation, or leadership, the ones who win are the ones who know more than they say. They watch, they listen, they grasp, and then they strike with accuracy. They don't waste bullets on noise. They fire when they know it will hit. Observe before you speak, not just to protect yourself, but to multiply your impact. Words lose power when you use them carelessly. But when you hold them back until the moment matters, people listen. They know you're not speaking to fill the air, you're speaking to make something happen. This self-control also forces you to think. Observation gives your mind space to process before reacting. It stops you from making emotional decisions that cost you later. Silence gives you control over the pace of a situation. When you're not rushing to respond, you're dictating the tempo, forcing others to adjust to you. Observation also builds respect. In a world full of loud voices, the one who speaks less is often the one who is taken most seriously. People notice when you listen intently, when you watch closely, when you ask sharp questions instead of making shallow statements. They realize you are not impulsive, you are deliberate, and deliberate people are dangerous. The impatient will always underestimate the observer. They think your silence is weakness, that you're unsure or uninformed. Let them think it. That's how you stay underestimated until you're ready to reveal your move. By the time they realize your silence was strategy, it's too late for them to adjust. Observation is not just about others, it's about yourself. Watch your own habits. Study your own patterns. Notice the situations that trigger you to speak without thinking, and self-control yourself to hold back. Every unnecessary word you remove is one more piece of control you gain. The great advantage of observing before speaking is that it compounds over time. The more you watch, the more data you gather. The more data you gather, the sharper your judgment becomes. Eventually, you can read situations in seconds that would take others hours to understand. You stop reacting, you start predicting. To master this, you must train yourself to be comfortable with silence. Most people rush to speak because silence feels awkward. Grasp to embrace it. Silence puts pressure on others to fill the gap, and in doing so, they reveal more than they planned. You collect that information and use it when it counts. This is why the most dangerous minds in history were not the loudest. They were the ones who spoke last. They let everyone else reveal their plans, their thinking, their weaknesses. Then, armed with complete information, they delivered a move that couldn't be countered. So the next time you feel the urge to speak quickly, stop, watch, listen, study the field. Let others commit themselves while you keep your options open. Let them expose themselves while you remain hidden. When you finally do speak, speak with purpose. Speak in a way that shifts the direction of the room. Speak so that every word carries weight. That kind of power doesn't come from talking more. It comes from talking smarter. And talking smarter begins with observing first. Observe before you speak, because the one who sees the most will always have the final word. Detach from noise. The world is addicted to distraction. Every second something is fighting for your attention. Your phone buzzing, headlines screaming, people shouting their opinions, endless streams of entertainment designed to keep you numb and unfocused. If you want to rise above the average, you must cut the cord between your mind and the chaos. Noise is not just sound, it's the flood of useless information, the opinions of people who have achieved nothing, the arguments that don't matter, the fake urgency that pulls you away from what's crucial. Noise steals your clarity, fractures your concentration, and keeps you trapped in shallow thinking. You cannot build a sharp mind if it's constantly drowned in meaningless input. Detaching from noise is not about isolation, it's about filtration. It's about deciding what deserves your mental space and ruthlessly eliminating the rest. Your attention is the currency of your journey. Whatever you give it to grows stronger. If you give it to noise, distraction will grow. If you give it to your vision will dominate. Most people can't concentration because they live in a constant state of mental interruption. They check their phone every few minutes, scroll endlessly, read every headline, listen to every opinion. They wonder why their thoughts feel scattered. It's because they've allowed the noise to program them. They're no longer in control of their own thinking. If you want to think like a leader, you must create mental space. That means shutting out the trivial, ignoring the irrelevant, and refusing to participate in the endless chatter of the world. This is not weakness, it's power. The more noise you remove, the more you can hear your own mind. And your own mind is where every great idea, every strategy, every breakthrough begins. Noise thrives on reaction. It feeds on your impulse to respond, to engage, to have an opinion on everything. But not everything deserves your reaction. When you refuse to take the bait, you starve the noise. You reclaim your time, your concentration, and your energy for things that matter. Detaching from noise is also about controlling your environment. If your surroundings are filled with constant chaos, people talking endlessly, music blaring, screens flashing, you're setting yourself up for mental weakness. Find spaces where you can think without interruption. Build routines that protect your concentration. If you can't find quiet, create it. It's not just the external noise you need to detach from, it's the internal noise too. The chatter in your own head, the replaying of old mistakes, the endless worrying about what could go wrong. This is self-generated noise, and it's just as destructive. The self-control here is to catch those thoughts early, stop feeding them, and redirect your mind toward what you can control. The greatest minds in history were not the ones who consumed the most. They were the ones who filtered the most. They absorbed only what was relevant to their mission, ignored the rest, and used their mental energy to create instead of react. They understood that constant exposure to noise kills deep thinking. Deep thinking requires uninterrupted time. It requires silence. It requires being so fully engaged with your work, your goals, and your purpose that you forget the world for a while. This is where the breakthroughs happen. This is where you see opportunities others miss because they're too distracted to notice. Detaching from noise also makes you harder to influence. The more noise you consume, the more you are shaped by it without realizing. Opinions, fears, and beliefs seep into your mind until you think they're your own. But when you detach, you strip away that influence. You see more clearly. You think more independently. You decide for yourself. People will not understand your silence. They will think you're missing out. They will wonder why you don't join every conversation, react to every headline, or chase every trend. Let them wonder. Your silence is your advantage. While they scatter their attention in 100 directions, you are gathering yours into a single unstoppable force. When you detach from noise, you stop living reactively. You stop chasing distractions and start building deliberately. You start hearing the thoughts that matter, the ones that move you forward. You make decisions faster because you're not buried under irrelevant input. You create more because your mental energy isn't leaking into things that don't matter. This self-control will feel unnatural at first. You will crave the noise because you've been conditioned to depend on it. But once you've tasted the clarity that comes from silence, you won't go back. The fog will lift. Your thinking will sharpen. You will start to see paths and possibilities that the distracted can't even imagine. Detach from noise, not because it's peaceful, but because it's powerful. Peace is a side effect. Power is the target. The less noise you allow into your mind, the more dangerous your thinking becomes. The quieter you are, the more you can hear what the world is really saying and what it's trying to hide. Noise wants to own you. Silence makes you own yourself. And when you own yourself, you can own your future. Use every defeat as a sharpness multiplier. The weak see defeat is the end. The powerful see it as an upgrade. Every time you fall, journey hands you a lesson written in pain. And only the ones who pay attention can read it. Defeat is not your enemy. It's the raw material that builds your insight. Every loss contains data. It tells you what didn't work, where you were blind, where you hesitated, where you trusted the wrong people or relied on the wrong strategy. The average person will walk away angry, bitter, or ashamed. The smart person will walk away with a notebook full of insights, ready to apply them like weapons in the next battle. Defeat strips away illusions. It doesn't care about your ego, your excuses, or your comfort. It shows you the reality with brutal honesty. And reality is the most valuable sharpness there is. It might hurt when you face it, but pain is the tuition you pay for a sharper mind. Most people avoid risk because they doubt defeat. But avoiding defeat also means avoiding growth. Playing safe might protect you from embarrassment, but it will also keep you weak, untested, and uninformed. Every major breakthrough, every revolutionary idea, every great leader has walked through the fire of defeat and come out stronger. Think of defeat as a teacher who speaks in a language only the self-control can understand. You don't get stronger by winning all the time. You get stronger by losing, analyzing, adjusting, and returning smarter. The more you repeat this cycle, the more dangerous your mind becomes. Defeat doesn't just sharpen your strategy, it hardens your mentality. Once you've been knocked down and grasped from it, you carry a certain calm into future challenges. You know you've survived worse. You know that even if you fall again, you'll rise with more understanding than before. That's power most people never touch because they quit too soon. The key is not to let defeat define you. It should refine you. A single setback is not your identity. It's just a moment. But if you take that moment, dissect it, and extract every drop of insight, it becomes a multiplier for your sharpness. One well-studied defeat can make you smarter than 10 easy victories. Some people waste their defeats. They bury them, pretend they never happened, or blame others. This is how they stay stagnant. Winners do the opposite. They sit with their losses. They replay them in their mind. They find the exact decision, habit, or mindset that caused it, and then they rebuild themselves with that new understanding baked in. It's like upgrading a machine. Every time you fail, you install a better system. Your mind becomes faster at recognizing patterns, quicker to adapt, and harder to fool. You start seeing problems before they even appear. That is the mark of someone who uses defeat as a sharpness multiplier. Defeat also exposes your true allies. When you lose, the people who vanish reveal themselves. The ones who stay reveal their loyalty. This is priceless sharpness. It saves you from wasting years with the wrong people. It shows you who you can trust when the pressure is on. Every defeat contains seeds of future victories, but only if you plant them. If you wallow in self-pity, those seeds rot. If you plant them by applying what you learned, they grow into strategies, habits, and skills that carry you further than you imagined. Think about the most intelligent strategists in history. They weren't born brilliant. They earned their brilliance through losses, mistakes, and disasters that forced them to adapt. Each time they emerged sharper, their mind became a weapon no opponent could predict. When you start to see defeat this way, you stop fearing it. You even welcome it because you know it's just another training ground. It's another test to refine your vision and strengthen your execution. So the next time you fail, don't just move on. Don't just try again. Break it down like a scientist. What assumption was wrong? What did you miss? What emotion clouded your decision? What piece of information should you have seen earlier? Answer these questions and you will never be the same. You will become someone who learns faster than the average person can recover. And that's when you become unstoppable. Not because you never lose, but because you are impossible to keep down. Every defeat, if used correctly, multiplies your sharpness. And multiplied sharpness multiplies your power. So, take your losses, study them. Let them shape you into a mind so sharp, so adaptive, and so unshakable that no setback can break you. Only make you smarter. Operate with ruthless concentration. Anything less, and the world will tear your attention into pieces before you can build anything of value. Distraction is the silent killer of potential. It doesn't strike with violence. It bleeds you slowly, minute by minute, until your energy is gone, and your dreams are nothing but ideas you once thought about. If you want to achieve anything rare, anything extraordinary, you must treat your concentration like a sacred resource and defend it with your journey. Ruthless concentration means knowing exactly what matters and refusing everything that doesn't. It means saying no more than you say yes. It means cutting off the conversations, commitments, and habits that feed on your time but give you nothing back. The weak spread their attention across 100 things and wonder why they make no progress. The powerful narrow it to the one or two things that move the mission forward, and they crush them. Concentration is a weapon, but a weapon is useless if you drop it every time you get bored, distracted, or tempted by something shiny. Ruthless concentration requires endurance. It means working on your craft long after the excitement has faded. It means pushing through the dull, repetitive, invisible parts of the process because you know that's where mastery is born. Every day there will be 100 voices calling you away from your road. Social media notifications, meaningless arguments, people who want to dump their problems on you, opportunities that look good but don't align with your true mission. Most people will surrender to them. You will not. You will build a fortress around your mind, letting in only what feeds your purpose. Operating with ruthless concentration also means you stop trying to do everything yourself. You delegate, automate, and eliminate. You strip away anything that doesn't require your unique skill or vision. You stop wearing busy like a badge of honor because you understand that being busy is not the same as being productive. When you work like a sniper. No random shots, no wasted movements. You line up the target, take the shot, and move on to the next. Every task is chosen with precision. Every hour has a reason. Every decision either gets you closer to your vision or it doesn't happen at all. This kind of concentration is not comfortable. It will force you to face the reality about how much time you've been wasting. It will demand self-control when every part of you wants to wander. It will make people around you uncomfortable because they'll see you cutting off the very distractions they depend on to avoid their own work. But here's the reality. If you can master this, you will leap ahead of 99% of people because the majority will never sustain their concentration long enough to produce anything of lasting value. They'll chase trends, start and stop projects, scatter their energy, and then wonder why nothing works. The enemy of greatness is not setback, it's distraction. Setback teaches, distraction numbs, setback sharpens you, distraction dissolves you. When you operate with ruthless concentration, you make setback your ally and distraction your sworn enemy. Concentration compounds. The deeper you go into one pursuit, the more breakthroughs you have. The more breakthroughs you have, the more confidence you gain. And confidence fuels more concentration. It's a cycle that turns you into an unstoppable force while everyone else is still debating where to start. Operating with ruthless concentration also requires you to guard your environment. You cannot stay sharp if you live in constant noise, chaos, and temptation. You must engineer your surroundings to support your mission, cutting out clutter, toxic people, and anything that pulls your mind off target. This is not about being inflexible. It's about being unshakable in your priorities. You can adapt to transformation without losing sight of the main objective. You can respond to opportunities without abandoning your core mission. You know the difference between a distraction and a genuine pivot, and you act accordingly. At the end of the day, ruthless concentration is not a skill you practice. It's a way you live. You wake up with clarity, you work with intent, you protect your attention as if it were gold, because it is. Attention is the currency of achievement and the world is constantly trying to steal it from you, so operate with ruthless concentration. Cut deep into your to-do list until only the essential remains. Lock onto your target and don't look away. Because when you can direct all your energy, all your creativity, all your drive into one concentrated beam, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who doesn't just get things done, you get the right things done. And in a world full of scattered minds, a focused mind is a dangerous mind. So decide right now that your attention is no longer for sale. Decide that every hour you spend will be invested, not wasted. Decide that nothing will pull you off the road unless it serves the mission. Because when you operate with ruthless concentration, you stop competing with the distracted. You leave them behind. You stop chasing what's urgent and start building what's eternal. And when you look back, you won't see scattered fragments of half-finished work. You'll see a legacy carved into the world with precision and purpose. That is the power of a focused journey. That is the difference between ordinary effort and extraordinary results. Now lock in, cut the noise, and move. Because the world doesn't reward the busy, it rewards the focused. If Denzel Washington's words moved you today, don't just stop here. Subscribe now and join a community built on strength, growth, and unstoppable motivation. Together, let's rise higher every single day.